Okay, let's unpack this. When you hear sacred bark, what sort of, I don't know, ancient potent imagery does that conjure for you?
Yeah, it's evocative, isn't it?
Totally. This deep dive takes us into a really fascinating corner of botanical medicine, pulling back the curtain on something called Cascara Sagrada, or sacred bark, as
Mm.
it's known. And what truly surprised me, and what we'll explore today, is the sheer breadth, really, of its reported uses, found in a very specific historical medical text.
Exactly. And what's remarkable here is how meticulously these historical texts document observations and applications. They really capture a moment in time.
Mm.
Our mission today is to sort of distill the reported properties and insights about Cascara Sagrada directly from William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica.
Yeah,
It's a classic collection, copyrighted in 1999.
right, a materia medica.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar, it's basically a comprehensive historical textbook. It details the observed effects, the traditional applications of various medicinal substances, almost like an old pharmacopoeia.
Yeah.
And this particular source offers a really rich snapshot of botanical understanding from that era.
So, right off the bat, you might be thinking constipation relief, and, well, you'd be on the right track for its initial common use.
Uh huh. That's the primary one many associate with it.
The source clearly states Cascara Sagrada was introduced as a palliative for constipation. Interestingly, it actually notes this application as non homeopathic in this context.
Which is an important distinction in that specific framework.
Yeah, what that means is it was applied directly for its physical, its laxative effects, not based on those, highly diluted, like cures, like principles you usually associate with homeopathy.
Right. Direct physiological action.
For this effect, the text suggests a dosage of 15 drops of fluid extract, and it was believed to restore normal function through its tonic effects, essentially like strengthening and normalizing the digestive system over time.
Kind of bringing it back into balance.
Exactly. But what truly surprised me from this source, and what really makes this deep dive worthwhile, is that the text suggests its reach goes much further.
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really suggests that its historical application wasn't just about, a single symptom. It points to a broader influence, particularly on the digestive system and related conditions.
Okay.
The text explains that careful provings reportedly showed Cascara Sagrada had a wider sphere of action.
Provings. Can you remind us what that means in this context?
Sure. So provings in homeopathy involve really meticulously observing the symptoms produced by a substance in healthy individuals. The idea is to understand its full medicinal profile, what it might be capable of addressing.
Got it. So these provings suggested it did more than just alleviate constipation.
Exactly. In this broader context, the source reports applications for things like chronic indigestion, liver conditions like cirrhosis and jaundice, hemorrhoids, and even certain types of gastric headache.
Wow. Okay. That's quite a list.
It is. And it really begs the question, how specific did these observations actually get beyond these sort of general conditions?
And that's what's so striking here. I mean, the level of detail is almost unbelievable sometimes.
Right.
Imagine practitioners documenting a remedy and noting something as precise as, get this, must wait for both a minute before flow starts, then first and drops when describing a urinary symptom.
That specific.
Yeah.
A whole minute.
Yeah, it truly highlights how meticulously these historical observers engaged in clinical documentation, really detailed observations.
Absolutely. Little tiny details.
And beyond that, the source specifically mentions a very distinctive, broad, flabby tongue and foul breath as associated symptoms.
Visual cues.
Totally. So if you showed up to a practitioner back then and they gave you a good look, these specific signs might immediately lead them to think of Cascara Sagrada. It really emphasizes how visually oriented their diagnostics were, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And this meticulous observation, it extends to systemic connections too. Well, this particular pairing mentioned in the text, rheumatism of muscles and joints with obstinate constipation. That's an incredibly insightful detail, I think.
Rheumatism and constipation together.
Yes. It suggests an interconnectedness, the author observed, moving well beyond just the digestive tract. They weren't just treating symptoms in isolation. They were actively looking for these systemic links, maybe viewing the body's internal, let's say, cleanliness or digestive health as directly impacting inflammation in the joints.
That's a concept gaining renewed interest even today, that gut joint connection.
Precisely. It's fascinating how they seem to intuit or observe these links back then.
It really is. The text also points us to a few relatives, you could say, in the botanical family, or at least in their reported effects. It's in the relationships section.
Ah, the comparisons. Always useful.
Yeah, it suggests comparing Cascara Sagrada with remedies like hide, which refers to hydrastis, I believe,
Correct. Hydrastis canadensis, golden seal.
and Nux noxomica, and specifically Rhamnus californica. What can these comparisons tell us about Cascara Sagrada itself?
Well, that comparison with Rhamnus californica, often called California buckthorn, is particularly illuminating, I think.
Okay, why that one?
Because the source notes that a tincture of Rhamnus californica was historically used for constipation, yes, but also tympanites. That's like bloating and gas and appendicitis and especially rheumatism.
Ah, there's the rheumatism link again.
Exactly. It directly echoes the reported effects on rheumatism we just discussed for Cascara sagrada. It suggests a potential shared action or maybe a family trait between these two related plants.
So, similar plants, similar reported effects, especially that digestive rheumatic connection.
It seems so. Based on this
Mhm.
historical record, it really reinforces that interconnected view they seem to have.
So, wow, we've seen everything from constipation to headaches, peculiar tongue signs, that really specific delayed urinary flow, and even joint pain. Quite the reported spectrum for a sacred bark.
It really is a broad picture painted in this text.
And for those curious about how it was prepared and administered, the dosage information provided in the source ranges pretty widely. It goes from a tincture, which is essentially the raw plant extract,
The direct physical preparation.
all the way to sixth potency, which refers to those very highly diluted preparations common in homeopathic practice.
Right, representing a different approach to its application.
It truly highlights the diverse ways this remedy was apparently used, from, like you said, direct physical application to perhaps more subtle energetic approaches.
Yeah, and what this deep dive into Cascara sagrada truly underscores, I think, is the meticulous detail with which these natural substances were observed and documented in historical materia medicus.
All those little notes and observations.
Exactly. They offer such a rich tapestry of reported effects, showing how practitioners painstakingly piece together a comprehensive understanding, based purely on direct observation and experience over time. These texts serve as really invaluable records, records of traditional uses and the, frankly, holistic perspectives of practitioners from that era.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. It's been fascinating.
My pleasure.
And as you listening reflect on these incredibly specific, sometimes almost quirky historical observations like that broad, flabby tongue or the minute wait for urine flow, perhaps consider, what did these detailed observations reveal to ancient practitioners that made this bark truly sacred to them? What connections were they seeing? And how might revisiting such intricate, interconnected views of human well being found in these historical texts continue to spark our curiosity about the profound relationship between plants and our own health, even today? Something to think about.